I never liked that phrase, Arthur. Don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions, right? Because I think that puts people on guard.
I always try to challenge my leaders. I do believe in giving them an opportunity to first give me some solutions, and then I can also elaborate or help them.
There's nothing worse than slamming that door shut, right? And that's it. And then you never get any form of communication from that person again.
If you're always telling people around you the answers, you're not teaching them or developing them, perhaps learn to get to the answer on their own.
Welcome to the What Do You Stand For podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the What Do You Stand For podcast, the place where emerging leaders in hospitality come to be inspired, informed, and transformed. My name is Arthur Keith, and I am the host, and I'm thrilled to be here today with members of the squad, including Colin.
Good afternoon, Arthur. How are you today?
Good, my brother. And then we have Alejandra here.
Hi, hey, Daddy.
And DJ.
Hey, everybody.
All right. Today we're here. We want to talk about if there's one thing that you should know about leadership, if there's one thing that you should have in your tool belt, if there's one thing that you should really embrace to be noticed and to be recognized, and that's the power of coming with solutions, showing that you're one, that those leaders around you know that you are a problem solver, that you come with solutions, that if there's something that's broke, they want to see results that they haven't seen, they want to see things get fixed. They know they can come to you. You're part of a team, or you're someone who has the qualities that can lead others to different results. Versus on the flip side of that are the leaders that they can recognize problems and they're real good at telling you there's a problem. They bring the problems to you, and then all of a sudden it becomes whose problem?
My problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ours.
Yeah.
And what happens, and how do you typically handle those situations as a leader?
I never liked that phrase, Arthur. Don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions, right? Because I think that puts people in a situation where they're on guard.
I've been there.
Right? So if I'm that guy who sits in the big office and I say, don't bring me your problems, bring me your solutions, right? You and I know what the mindset is there, right? We want you to come to the table with an idea on how you might want to solve this, and I can talk it through with you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I just said is much different than don't bring me your problems, bring me your solutions. I don't know. It's just the way that I always interpreted it.
No, I think I agree, because you've effectively shut down the opportunity for learning and communication if you said, just come to me with a fully formed solution.
Yeah,
right?
You're absolutely correct.
Because you're still a team and you still have to have that opportunity to speak. But not every leader is going to have the confidence to come at you with this perfect solution.
That is true.
Because, if you're speaking to your boss, like, you want to impress them. But I think a boss that says, you can come to me with some of those problems, maybe the half-formed solutions, I think that's the better communication style.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so what I hear you saying is the old saying of don't come to me with problems, come to me with solutions. All of you agree that perhaps we should reframe that to sound something along the lines of, hey, don't come to me just sharing problems. Come to me with a willingness and a desire to be part of the solution.
Yes, that.
So what's the best way to find out the solutions to these problems, right? So if you're faced with something that you don't know the answer to, who are you supposed to go to get the answer?
Well, you bring up a great question. So you recognize there's a problem and you want to go to your leader to explore how to resolve it. To me, that's a sign of leadership, because if you're going to someone else for input, if you're going to someone else for advice, if you're going to someone else for guidance and still owning that problem and taking that information and incorporating it into a solution that you're developing in your mind or developing with others, that's leadership. Leaders don't always have all the answers. The best leaders work collaboratively.
Yeah.
They work in collaboration with others, getting the best information available to come up with the best approach to attacking a challenge or a problem or an issue, whatever you want to call it.
I think that when you're that leader and you need some feedback, you need someone to have a brainstorm with, you're looking for that opportunity to come together, like you said, collaboratively with somebody else. It's the follow through.
That's a great point.
So you can't just because I don't think there's anything wrong with pointing out problems, because sometimes you don't know what exists unless somebody points it on out. And if you're going to take that problem upon yourself to fix it, or you're going to, let's say, delegate it to somebody else, it's that follow through to me that I think that shows true leadership, because an okay leader can take on a problem and kind of have a solution. But if they don't follow through,
That
I
is
think
true.
that's really a testament.
I would venture the ones that get recognized and the ones that you value the most are the ones, yeah, you're right. They see problems, they recognize them. They come to you, they show their initiative to come to you, to talk through them with you. They have input and suggestions into this, how it could be addressed. And then they take it and run with it.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
And they bring closure to it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones, I guarantee you, those are the ones you're pulling along with you as you grow as a leader. Those are the ones that are growing around you. I guarantee it.
So I've got a really good friend, like one of my best friends. He is the ultimate problem finder and the one who thinks he can come up with a new shiny solution for everything. Like, he has binders of things, and every meeting we would have, he would come in and be like, all right, guys, let me show you. And he was brand new on the team, and it did not bode well for his tenure at our resort. There were some really awesome new processes that he had thought up and gone through and researched. There were PowerPoints, there were handouts, but I think it comes down to, in his case, it was relationships. So he didn't give the respect and when you come into a new situation, you have to say, I can honor what's here before I start throwing new things at you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those ultimate people who are all about finding the problems, all about finding new, shiny new solutions, if they have the relationships, they may be able to make some of those things work. And hopefully they can take the feedback that's like, if it's not broken, we don't need to fix it, because that's also something we have to think about.
That's a great point.
Absolutely. When I was a first-time manager and I was about to get promoted, my division head sat me down and told me what I call the 30-60-90 rule. And I can tell you that I've shared it with every single manager that I've ever worked with. Right? Don't say a word for the first 30 days while you're there.
Yeah.
Learn as much as you can in the next 30 days up to 60, right? And then at 90, you can finally start to offer new solutions.
He needed that advice.
Right? It's just great advice. And, sometimes it's 20, 40, 60, right? Depending on what the situation is and how bad things are.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing you always keep in mind is that things are not always broken.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't broken before they were getting along, right? There are things that maybe need fixing sooner than others, but you don't have to save the world in your first week. And how many of those managers have we worked with our lives that came in and thought they were going to save the world in the first week?
Yes.
And then it was really difficult for them to get a foothold.
Mm-hmm.
And as I listen to all of you share your thoughts, the picture that comes to mind is, you've heard the expression of that person's a hammer and everything's a nail.
Yes.
In their eyes, that they feel needs to be hammered. And there are definitely people out there. And we're suggesting that you be a little bit more selective when you look to pound an issue or drive home a change. And the other layer to all this is, once again, all these changes involve people, and an organization can only handle so much change as you're dealing with the day-to-day, or what over the years I've come to call the whirlwind. When you think about a hospitality operation, there's a day-to-day activity and actions going on. It's the whirlwind, it's the guests, it's employee situations, it's owners, it's just what keeps you busy. It's the grind, right? And that's the whirlwind, and it's there every day. And there's some days you go in and the whirlwind sucks you up and spits you out about 12 hours later, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, and you find yourself not able to get to some of these important changes that you want to make. But effective leaders figure out how to operate within the whirlwind. They prioritize which nails they want to go after.
That's right.
So they can be really effective at attacking a limited number of scenarios that really matter. And I would venture to say you should be selective about which ones you're going after. Make sure they matter to those people around you that you work for. All right. Make sure you're aligned with their values and their priorities, and not just picking random problems to solve.
That's right.
I think there's also something to throw in that the only constant is change.
Yeah.
So when you're in that whirlwind and it spits you out 12 hours later, I think that it's also that realization that you're only human and you can only do so much. And there's only so much change that you as leader, your peers, your boss, your direct reports. There's only so much you can take. And to be the most effective, like you said, you have to prioritize. So we live in an environment that is full of change.
Oh, geez.
And then you get to the point at the end of the whirlwind where you don't want to make another decision.
Yeah.
Right? You just, I don't want to make another decision.
Yeah. Decision fatigue.
So let's bring it back home for just a second here, right? If we're in the whirlwind as leaders and we don't want to make another decision, right? Probably is happening for the same thing for our team members, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to make another decision. So if you live by the don't come with problems, come with solutions, yet it's the end of my day and I couldn't possibly even think out of get an Uber home, right? Like you're just so spent.
Yeah.
We as leaders have to understand that too.
Mhm.
And we actually have to be cognizant of what's really going on.
That's right.
Right. And there's been so many times in my career where I actually said, oh, I am not going to have that tough conversation this afternoon because Arthur put in a freaking day and a half and it's just not right. Right. Although Arthur, we've never had any tough conversations, but you know.
So you got to honor the human, not just the ones around you, but yourself. Right. And sometimes it's okay to say, maybe that's okay to take care of tomorrow. Not everything, but sometimes it's okay.
Make a list and attack things one at a time.
Yep, absolutely.
Have you ever had a scenario where you knew the answer? You had the solution. You saw a problem, and you worked it out in your head. You solved it, and you went to someone you work for. You presented it to them, and they just shut you down and weren't open to it. Has it ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there.
I can't think of something specific, but I know I've been shut down in my life. It's frustrating, right? Because you feel that it's, I think there's two ways to look at it, right? When you're just told, no, Colin, move on. That's one thing.
Yeah.
When you're told, no, Colin, but here's why,
Yeah.
right? I think the why is the important in that case, right? Because if you explain to me why, I can absorb it as another leader and say, oh, okay, well, at least there's a little bit of a reason why. We can't do that because whatever the reason might be.
Mm-hmm.
But without the why, I think it becomes very, very frustrating.
I don't know if I can think of a situation where I've had something like completely shut down, but I know I've had to shut down things from direct reports.
Yeah.
And you're right, giving them the why is always important. And I always try to thank them for their problem. The solution and their problem, I guess.
Sure.
And to tell them that it's okay to keep coming with those questions and to keep the door open, because there's nothing worse than slamming that door shut, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you never get any form of communication from that person again.
Absolutely.
If you're going to shut down a solution, it's important that you give them the why.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They may not agree with the why, but you should, as a leader, share the why. And then the flip side of that is if you've gone to a leader, presented something and got shut down without a why,
Mm-hmm.
I suggest that you stop and ask why and probe there to help you develop. That might be a difficult scenario for some people, depending on the relationship. But if in some cases, the leader may be moving too fast and just not be sensitive to that situation. So I suggest you stop and ask them, allow them the opportunity to do the right thing, which is to tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
That shows maturity as a young leader growing.
Hmm.
And it's giving yourself an opportunity to learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving your leader an opportunity to do the right thing. Then if they still don't give you the why, you can move on and say, okay, I tried. I did what I could do.
I just want to add an amendment to that, right? Timing is everything in this world.
Yep.
You don't actually have to ask that why in the moment, because certainly you have to read the situation. But if you go back to your leader and say, hey, we talked about this last week and you said no in a good time of conversation, can you tell me why?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's appropriate as well, right? You just have to know timing and you have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Arthur, I thought you were going to ask the question the other way around. Has anybody ever come to you with a problem that you knew the answer, but you didn't give it?
Oh, that's a whole nother scenario. And I'm going to suggest that's graduate level leadership. If you're a leader and you have someone that comes to you and you know the answer, if you're always telling people around you the answers, you're not teaching them or developing them to perhaps learn to get to the answer on their own. And I would challenge leaders to go out and try to draw out from your people the answer and have them get to the answer. That's more powerful in the long run.
Correct.
And if you do that, you're training people to answer the question themselves And over time, they'll just answer the question themselves and not come to you versus you train them. If you want the answer, come to me.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
100% agree.
Yeah, there are a lot of leaders out there. Oh my gosh, I'm worn out. Oh, I get no time off. People always come to me and I can't get my work done. And I've seen leaders that they actually love that. They love to feel needed like that. And they kind of draw their energy from that, but they're worn out. I mean, they're the ones over time.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's me. It's me.
Yeah, it's a classic, don't give them the fish, teach them the fish, right? Teach them how.
I have 3 words that a leader of mine told me: do, teach, or observe. You have 3 options in a situation. Are you going to jump in and just take it over and do it? Are you going to jump in and together find that solution? Or are you just going to observe and then touch base later? That really helped me figure out how to not be that person, because I was that person.
I think we all were. I think that we all were.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
When I was a young leader, it was everything I could to try and improve myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And as I matured, it changes, right? You just, and I hope that people are listening understand that that's not the only way to the top, right? There are other ways.
Yeah. Hey, DJ.
Yes, sir.
In the many, many years you're hanging out in your banquet operations, what was the number one problem that you would say you found yourself dealing with on a regular basis?
Trying to open a room on time because the group is still in the room.
Oh, God.
One of the locations would be at the old Opryland Hotel. A lot of times when they're trying to open up a room at the last minute, or because the group has gone a little bit longer on their meetings, from a classroom and now they need to turn the entire ballroom, 55,000 square feet, into a full dining room for their banquets of about, let's say, 3,000 people. So you got classroom moving to dinner.
Oh my!
How do you do that? And we only have 1 hour to get it done because it's an award banquet. That was the hardest one.
Come on, knowing you as a leader, you came with solutions and probably figured it out. And how did you go about presenting the solution?
I always try to challenge my leaders. You have so many years of experience doing it. You don't want to always lob the answers to them because you want them to develop. I do believe in giving them an opportunity to first give me some solutions, and then I can also elaborate or help them guide to the better solution where it actually ends up being like it's part of it's something that they came up with.
Awesome.
And so what happens is they end up with a greater sense of pride. They also end up with feel like they did something, a great deal of accomplishment, and they become more like family.
That is true.
Because they're able to fix the problem or fix I wouldn't call it a problem, it's just a challenge because we're all capable of being able to achieve or overcome certain challenges. We can do it. We just sometimes have to be able to invite different ideas and collaboration and innovation for those.
I agree.
And during that, can you think of an example of a time where someone on your team who you just didn't think got it or had it came to you with something that just floored you because it was so powerful and so creative?
Yeah, a lot of times you have those, like, let's say, for instance, your catering managers. A lot of times they're so nervous because they want to make it right for the customer and they don't want to fail them. A lot of times they work in these situations all the time that it becomes natural for them, even though, again, it's organized, it's chaos, but it's organized chaos.
Interesting.
And this is where they do their best. This is what they do. Just like in the NFL games, when you have at that last minute, they're coming through. They only got 1 minute to get down the field and they got to make all of these plays to get through. Same way with banquets and their element, they're able to do the same thing. And
It's not easy.
We were able to devise a strategy. Everybody had a piece of the puzzle that they ended up working. And what happens is once they see all the pieces of puzzles and how it all plays together, a lot of the concern that the catering manager had started to disappear.
Awesome, man.
Because they were able to see it all come together like one big picture. But it's hard to see that if it's not something that you see on a regular basis.
Awesome.
All right, be real with me. In the mess, you talked about the adrenaline rush and how busy things are and how hectic they are. And you guys are turning and burning, making stuff happen. Were there times you were thinking that we ain't going to make it? We ain't going to make it. And how did that ever happen to you?
Oh my God, yes. Oh man, there have been times where you do get that nervousness of possibly not making it. And it's one of those things where you just kind of have to suck it up and just really have faith. You got to have faith, because once you start having faith, you stop having that faith in what you're capable of doing, then you can misstep. There's going to be several missteps. And next thing you know, you don't get the desired outcome that you're looking for.
That is true.
But you have to stay positive. I'm a true believer if you can stay positive on the desired outcome goal, then you will achieve what you're looking for, keeping everybody on the same page.
That is
I would
true.
add to that, as a leader in that situation, you may have heard the expression, never let them see you sweat.
Exactly.
When the team looks around and they see the leader is like losing it or doesn't feel confident or is losing his confidence, that's something that trickles down. You know, I've seen leaders who, for lack of a better expression or phrase, bullshitting. You could tell they were out of control, but they presented themselves very, very calm. And it's something that I think those leaders that have been around for a while, you learn that, okay, got to maintain the control, I got to be the leader in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And the leader is coming from a place of anxiousness or anxiety or nervousness. It just trickles down, and that's when things really fall apart. And I don't know if you've ever seen that happen in operation or been part of a team where things just imploded. I know I have.
Yeah, I've seen it. You know, I think a lot of times if they're new to an environment and there's a nervousness because they may have, maybe from where they came from, they may have met some of those failures, 50% of the time. And I think, but you can also tell those who are battle tested, those who have a level of confidence, knowing that there's a phase to it. There's a phase into walking into your execution. They can see the end in mind. And so the thing is, it really depends on where they are, the level of professional maturity. Are they there? Do they understand, what are some of the root causes that will allow them to address those really quick and move on to executing and resolving issues as you go on the fly.
I love it. I love it.
But you have to have people that are battle tested. And when you don't have those that are battle tested, you basically, what you do is you will see, depending on the team, you'll see leaders start to step up. I got this. I got this. I got this. And so you'll see them all start to work together in harmony.
Yeah.
Team that basically practice, how to be perfect all the time. They're like a well-organized team.
Yeah, we spent a great deal of time today talking about problems. We're talking about solutions, not just coming with solutions, but having the ability to execute those solutions. And, I think we're adding a layer to this that I think is a very, very important layer, and that's executing the plan that's going to deliver the solutions that you desire and doing it with a level of confidence that's contagious. And one final layer that I want to add to this, and I think it's a critical ingredient that we don't talk enough about. Great leaders in the midst of all this, keep it fun.
Mm-hmm.
In the world of hospitality, it's all about the energy and the vibrancy that we operate within. And when it's not fun, when it becomes
work.
When it becomes work.
When it becomes work.
Yeah, if it becomes work, and then when it becomes work that's not fun, because it's always work.
Yeah.
It really becomes work when it's work that's not fun. So keeping it fun as you're going about it doesn't feel like work, it's still work, but it's fun. So we're having fun at work. So we're playing and doing things that people thought were impossible because you had a plan and you worked that plan and you executed it. So thanks, everyone. I hope those of you who are out here listening to our podcast walked away today with some golden nuggets that you can apply to what you do on a day-to-day basis. If you have any thoughts or suggestions or questions, feel free to go to arthurkeith.com, go to the Ask Arthur page, drop myself or any of the members of the squad quick note and ask some questions. Definitely want to thank Alejandra, DJ, and Colin for joining us today. Look forward to connecting with you all again on a future podcast. Look forward to connecting with our listeners either one-on-one at arthurkeith.com or on a future podcast. Everyone have a great night.
Yay.
Look for us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Find the links on arthurkeith.com. What do you stand for?